Welcome friends to the 2023 Lexus RX 350h Hybrid review. If you are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe right now. Okay, we have here the newly redesigned RX. Many people have been waiting for this. After all, the RX SUV, it's the brand's bread and butter product in the United States at least. And I too was very curious about this vehicle. In many ways, this product is a step in the right direction, but in others, it does go a step backwards. And I'll go into more details about that throughout the review. But if you want to save up to 8% off MSRP on a brand new RX 350, the turbocharged 4-cylinder model, I have partnered with AutoCompanion, and he can make sure you do get that 8% off MSRP. I'll have all of this information in the description box below, and I'll talk more about that towards the end of the video. Let's first talk about the exterior of this vehicle, because I do really like the way this SUV looks. You can comment below, let me know your thoughts, but I personally think this is a huge improvement. I love what they did with the spindle grille. I think it's totally unique, different from any other vehicle out on the market right now. I always appreciate the Lexus design language. It's not boring and understated like a lot of the German competitors, so I appreciate Lexus for those reasons. I like what they did with the lights, both in the front and the rear. We also have here optional 21-inch wheels, which I just think it's a bit overkill. I don't think this SUV needs wheels quite that large. I think 20-inch wheels would be fine. But unless you're going with the F-Sport model, I think the F-Sport, the larger wheels, the blacked out packages, all that looks great on that particular model. But yeah, that's the looks. I think it's an improvement over the previous generation RX. It's elegant, but also different at the same time. But enough of that, let's go ahead and let's transition over into the driving segment now. All right, we have here the 350h Hybrid, producing 246 horsepower. It's got this 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, made it to this battery pack. Obviously, performance is not the reason for going with this hybrid. It's to get that 37 mpg out of the city and 34 out on the highway. That's the main reason why many people want this hybrid. I'm pleased to say it is decently quick for what it is, but you do have to really get on that throttle to make it move. And when you do that, you have that nasty 4-cylinder noise, okay, because gone is the V6. No more V6 for any new RX model. The regular gasoline powered RX 350s, they have the turbocharged 4-cylinder, which I have tried in the NX 350 that I tested, and I don't mind the engine. It's certainly better than this. But again, none of these engines are as smooth as the V6. That engine had the best character, the best power delivery, much better smoothness. It was just the engine of choice for a vehicle of this category. I don't mind the 4-cylinders as much in the NX. I think it's okay for that class of vehicle, but when you step up to these RX models, you have a much higher expectation for the vehicle, and this isn't quite meeting that. But let's be real here, a traditional RX buyer is never going to accelerate. They're never going to even know what's under the hood of this vehicle. I'm not even exaggerating here. I mean, I've seen the way people drive out on the road. They never accelerate. They never get on the throttle. So it's only when you really floor it like this, when you notice that you have a 4-cylinder, otherwise it's fine. Most people are very mellow, very gentle in their driving nature, especially in RX. So for those people, yeah, this hybrid power plant is fine. And as I mentioned before, good luck getting one. There's no deals to be had, and also the wait times are insane. It's literally a year wait time if you spec one out with the dealership. So for those reasons, I'm just going to disregard this power plant and the plug-in hybrid and the RX 500. They came out with that as well. It's like a performance hybrid, but honestly, I just don't see the point in overpaying for this. $60K is the cap that I'm willing to pay for this product here. The way you see it here, this RX 350h, it is $65,000. All right, enough of the power plant. I think we get the point. How does it drive though? This actually handles and rides really decently. You can take this around corners and it doesn't just fall flat on its face. Sure, it tends to understeer at the limit. I mean, what do you expect? At limit handling is not the reason why you buy an RX, but I'm just saying, when you take your everyday left-hand turns, your right-hand turns, it feels stable, it feels secure, nobody's flipping over, there's no crazy body roll with this, it's really well contained. Granted, the previous generation, the 2020s and up, felt great as well. They were excellent handling vehicles, nobody really gave it credit for it, but I will say, that SUV, the previous generation, when you drove it, it felt like it had a good handling demeanor to it. It felt taut. This new model is feeling a little bit more Audi-esque. It's got the capabilities. It handles decently. But it doesn't feel it, if that makes sense. It doesn't promote that type of driving. It doesn't even hint at the fact that it's a better handling vehicle than what it replaces. It just does its job. And it does it very casually. Because of that, this new generation, it's lost a bit of character, it's lost a bit of soul that the previous model had. But I feel like most people buying this won't care and they don't really understand what I'm talking about here. So I'm not really going to regard that as a con. I think it's a good thing. It feels like a more isolated vehicle. It's also very quiet in here. Even at the highway speeds, it's pretty refined, and also the stability at high speeds has improved. I'm really impressed with that. I did some pretty high speeds in this. Really well done. So your everyday drivability has absolutely improved here. I think most people are really going to appreciate driving this on a day-to-day basis, highway driving especially. The ride quality and the suspension is truly excellent. It's really well calibrated, and I say that because we're riding on 21-inch wheels, and that is just so overkill. This vehicle does not need 21-inch wheels, and I primarily say that because the tire selection is terrible with these massive wheels. You have these Bridgestone tires, which usually I've had a good experience with Bridgestone, especially the Terenza tires, but these Alenzas are awful. They genuinely feel like run flat tires, even though they're not. We have a spare tire in the back. These are traditional all-season tires. But for whatever reason, when you go over broken pavement, these tires react a lot like run flats. I don't understand why. So what I would suggest you doing is go with the smaller wheels. That'll help the vehicle be even smoother still, while offering you better tire selection. They've done a really good job in masking the weight and also the size. It feels a lot smaller than what it is. The visibility is absolutely excellent. So overall, yeah, I would say the biggest con driving this, it would be the engines. You know, I do miss the V6. This exact vehicle with the V6 engine would be amazing, would be a true treat. The next best choice would be getting that turbo 4-cylinder. That's a better and smoother experience than this hybrid. We also have here the eCVT, which is fine for this hybrid, but I prefer the traditional automatic that the turbo 4-cylinder comes with. But with that established, let's go ahead and let's transition over into the interior space, and we'll talk about some of the new features. Okay, now that we are stopped, let's go ahead and talk about this interior space. For the most part, I'm a really big fan of most Lexus interiors. As you can see here, there is some great designs going on here. I love their use of various material choices and how they break things up with leathers, suedes, and these wood panels. It just has a lot more character than some of the European competitors, right? I think many people are going to appreciate this optional 14-inch infotainment screen. It is a touchscreen, and it's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It works great, it looks great, and I've just had no issues in using this system. I also don't mind the way they have the climate control embedded into the touchscreen. They did a really good job with it, very easy to access. So in my opinion, I think this is one of the best new vehicle infotainments that you can get. Initially, I wasn't a huge fan of the way they have the heads-up display laid out here. They make you look at the heads-up display when you access your steering wheel control. So when you go between various tracks, or when you adjust the volume, or when you try to adjust something in the digital gauge cluster, you actually have to look up to the heads-up display in order to make the various changes that you want. But me personally, I've gotten used to it in my 1 week of testing this SUV. I used to despise it, now not so much. The doors feel great. They actually have a pretty good heft to them. Not quite like some of the German competitors, like this Audi Q7 that I'm testing here. The German cars just have a much more sturdy feel to their interiors, especially with their doors. But this isn't bad. And I don't know, this piece of suede that they have on the door panel, it might not be for everyone. It's cool. I see what they're trying to do here, but it does look like a piece of carpet that was just slapped onto the door panel. I like the way they have the suede laid out on the headliner. I think that's really elegant, really smooth. That's the type of finish that I prefer, but it's okay. You don't have to get this material here if you don't want to. You do have your one-touch up and down windows for all 4 windows, and we do have here double pane glass in the front. The ML audio system does sound excellent, but like a subscriber commented, you have to turn off the surround sound feature in order to get the excellent sound quality. Because if you have it turned on, I kid you not, this Mark Levinson sounds like a tin can. So it is imperative that you turn off the surround sound. It's located in a separate menu from the regular sound tuning section of the infotainment, but make sure you find it, turn it off, and you'll be very happy with this ML audio in the 2023 RX. But moving on, the storage spaces, that's great. You have your own dedicated spot to charge your phone, and it actually works for once, and there's just a ton of space in there, along with your USB-C and your USB ports. 2 decently sized cup holders. Same thing with the armrest. The glove box is just full of the books right now, but that's also not a bad storage space either. You do have various modes that you can put this SUV into. You got your sport mode, your eco mode. Personally, I haven't really noticed a difference in any of these modes. Car literally feels the same in every mode that you put it in, so I just put it into the comfort and call it a day. Again, we have a lot of little options here with this car, like the panoramic sunroof, as well as the 360 camera. These are all great things to have, but these are like little options that you have to select. I wish Lexus would just give you one package that you can select, which houses all of these various options. I think that would just be a lot easier and a lot cleaner, but it is what it is. Go through the options, check off what you need. One of the biggest improvements with this new RX, it's definitely going to be with the seats. It is significantly more comfortable than the previous generation RX models. There's so much more support here with the lumbar, with the side bolsters. Everything about it is just significantly more comfortable. Everyone that I've had in this vehicle said the same thing. They love the seats. They also look pretty amazing as well. And I don't mind the use of suede on the seats. I think they did a very good job with that. The design is nice. The leather feels good. I really appreciate that. The rear legroom is absolutely phenomenal. I love that. I'm 5'11", getting in and out of this SUV, very easy. And the legroom, the headroom, it's all excellent. So it's a huge improvement over the NX in terms of the interior space, and even driving it as well. It does feel more premium, but I'll cover that more in the conclusion. But mainly, the space is fantastic. You can also electronically recline these seats as well. The rear sunshades, that's an option, but it's not that expensive, so you might as well get it. One of the cons with having a electronically controlled rear seat is the fact that it's very slow to put them down. So you can fold down both those rear seats, but it takes forever. Fortunately, the cargo space is excellent with this SUV, not a problem. So space, huge advantage over the NX. And I believe because this is a higher trim level vehicle, you also have the heated rear seats back there and your own climate control to play with as well. So that's a look at the interior space. Let's go ahead and let's transition over into the conclusion segment, where I can talk about the various trim levels, my summary of the driving experience, if the vehicle is worth it, and how you can save with AutoCompanion. Okay, overall thoughts. I do like this SUV. It drives pretty good, very smooth, especially out on the highway at higher speeds. It's got excellent stability. It's just a phenomenal cruiser, but it does it in such a subtle way. You know, it's got great handling characteristics. You can take long sweeping corners without really letting off on the throttle. So it's very impressive in how it drives. It does it in a very casual way. And it's very Audi-esque in that way, but it loses some character because of it. It just feels like a generic luxury appliance now. You just kind of drive it as a casual cruiser, and you enjoy it for those reasons, as well as the refinement, the excellent interior space, the great technology, and the safety features. And in general, most of these Lexus products, they're almost always a IIHS top safety pick, so you can be rest assured you're carrying your family around in a safe automobile. The cons, as I mentioned, you know, none of these 4-cylinder engines can touch that excellent naturally aspirated V6. The turbo 4-cylinder is decent, but again, not quite on the level of the V6. But the other aspects of the interior, I am a huge fan of, especially these seats. Love the comfort of these seats. You can really pile on the miles in this new RX, and yeah, again, it's a great daily driver for all those reasons. And the obvious benefits of going with a Lexus product, it's going to be the excellent resale value and the dealer support that you're going to get. It's just not a bad financial purchase to make. As I mentioned before, I am partnered with AutoCompanion, and he can help you to get 8% off MSRP on the turbo 4-cylinder models like the base, the premium, and the F Sport. I would go with the premium, spec it with a few options. That's going to be around 55 grand. And if you want to pay up more, that F Sport I think is a nice improvement. I remember driving the NX F Sport and I was pretty impressed. I like the smoothness of it. So if you want to step up to that, not a bad idea, especially since you are getting 8% off MSRP. I think paying 60 grand is not a bad idea. You're literally getting almost 5 grand off MSRP. AutoCompanion is located in the Washington, D.C. area. He's partnered with multiple different Lexus dealerships there. So you can absolutely get you into one of these newer RXs, but once again, the hybrids, the plug-ins, that's not really happening, and no real deals going on for that either. If you want to lease the RX, like a premium model, I think it came out to be around $777 with no money down, assuming you have perfect credit. That's okay. I mean, it's better than leasing the NX, but the interest rate is still kind of high. It's around 6%. So if you're going to lease it, I would ask AutoCompanion to maybe get some numbers for you on a one-pay lease or even some MSDs. That can help to bring the interest rate down and make the lease a little bit better. But if you pay cash or you finance the vehicle, you can still get the 8% off. So it's going to be on you what you want to do there. There is a broker fee of $500, but if you sign up with my link in the description box, then you can get $50 off of that broker fee. And if you want to ship the vehicle, they can do that as well. They ship nationwide, but you will have to pay for that shipping as well. I don't think anybody will mind because you're getting such a great discount. I think it's worth it. And that's pretty much the best deal you're going to be able to get on this new RX. So enjoy that, and hopefully you enjoyed this review. Hopefully you found some value with this content. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll have my next video on the end screen here. Click on it and I will see you there.